Well, it's great to be here, everyone. Does my sound okay? So we're excited to be here. It's a lot of great synergy between Pessler and Richweb. They've been a great partner over the past couple of years, and we've been seeing large deals, small deals, and we've been working together quite a bit. One of the things that's been exciting for us is as networks change, as businesses change, and what we're talking about today and all these different vendors, from talking about the cloud, talking about security, talking about connectivity, all of it needs to be monitored. And Pessler, we're the network monitoring company. For the past 20 years, we've developed and supported and pushed a solution for monitoring everything in your infrastructure. From our founding, we were focused on just routers and switches, looking at traffic. We've become to be the infrastructure monitoring company. We are headquartered in Nuremberg, Germany. We have over 200 employees across the world now. We've got a large number of employees here in the U.S., though our headquarters is where the majority of our employees are, but we've got offices in Australia as well as a number of us here in the U.S. We're exclusively focused on IT infrastructure monitoring. And as John was talking through and stealing some of my thunder, but that's okay, talking about Prtg, we really appreciate the partnership here with Richweb. So the U.S. is our largest market. Quite honestly, although we're used by some of the largest organizations in the world, by 70% of the Fortune 100, we're unapologetically small and medium business. We really, our goal as a company, our vision is to help the admin, to help the IT guy, whether it's a single person or it's a part-time thing or if it's an IT staff of 20 or 50. Our goal is to help that admin do their daily job. Help guys like John and other engineers support the networks that they rely upon for their business. There's over 200,000 installations of Prtg throughout the world, so you can understand and appreciate that it's been a tried and true product. It's been tested. It's been put through the works. It's been used in so many different ways throughout the world. And the question here, and we've already been talking about it this morning, is why do we need monitoring? Well, as I mentioned before, the network is more important than ever, regardless of where your infrastructure resides, whether you're on-prem, cloud, hybrid. Our assumption is, along with John, that you're going to be in a hybrid mode. You're always going to have something on-prem. You're always going to have some switches, some firewalls, probably some printers. Even if you're moving most of your compute, maybe you're going to thin clients and virtual desktop infrastructure, you still have a network to rely upon. And wireless connectivity or just basic LAN connectivity is going to be critical regardless of what your infrastructure is like. So when we talk about monitoring, we're talking about measuring the things that matter, measuring the things that affect end user experience, that affect your customers, that affects the core of your business. And how do we, if it's one thing to measure that, but then how do we react to it? How do we respond to that? And that's all about notifications and alerts and remediation and automating those steps to resolve issues within your IT infrastructure. And of course, being able to take all that data and analyze it so you understand trends, so you understand what your capacity is going to be in the future. When are you going to run out of space? When are you going to run out of compute? When are you going to run out of bandwidth for the applications and services that you need as a business? So the IT admin, he's got a lot on his back. Who are my admins here? Who even just plays with IT? Okay, I've got a few of you. And the rest of you, you know IT guys, right? You know the men and women who support your network. You probably have friends and relatives. There's a lot on their plate. They've got a lot of time pressure, different stakeholders. There's all kinds of different things that are thrown at IT because everything relies upon it. So then they have to worry about all these protocols and vendors and manufacturers, and that's where, in some cases, Richweb comes in. I don't want to manage that anymore. Take care of it for me, and that's a great solution. And that's honestly one of biggest ways that customers of ours are using Prtg is through a managed service partner like RichWeb. And then you've got to worry about the future, hyperconvergence and SDN and NFV and all of these new things, and IoT and cloud, all these different things are on the advent. So where is monitoring today? Where does it come from? Well, the evolution of monitoring really starts out with up-down. Is my server running? Is my switch running? What's the traffic? Really basics of what's going on in the network. Monitoring 2.0 gets into virtualization, where you're not only monitoring core network devices, but you're also monitoring your virtual stack. Because no longer is it one server inside of one box or one PC, but everything is becoming virtualized. And now we're talking about the cloud, and the cloud has just become commonplace. Thankfully, when I think about all the buzzwords, and we get really tired of buzzwords and all these phrases that go around IT and technology, like cloud and IoT and machine learning and autonomous vehicles and robotics and whatever it is. So cloud is really, it's been around for a while. We're all using cloud. We all have a smartphone. We all have a half a dozen apps connected to a half a dozen cloud services. But for you, and for many businesses today, this hybrid cloud needs to be monitored. Now, monitoring 4.0 is really looking ahead and kind of getting into more business-related industries, machines, devices that aren't traditional IT. What do I mean by that? Things like monitoring hospital blood banks. We have customers that are monitoring the salinity and temperature of the water in their prawn pools. We've got guys monitoring turkey hatcheries and chicken coops. Casinos monitoring payouts on their machines. The reality is everything in a business, from manufacturing to industries like mining. One of my colleagues came from a mining company in Australia. They actually monitor all of the trucks and all of the equipment as it moves around the mining facility. So they're not only monitoring what the connectivity is between that truck, so it's giving status, but it's monitoring what that truck is doing, where it's going, what the temperature is, how much weight it's holding, metrics about their business in the mining industry. So monitoring 4.0 is about all of these devices, all of the wearables, all the mobile devices, and all the non-IT things like manufacturing and smart industries. So the evolution of monitoring now includes all of these things. So it's not only hardware, virtual, cloud, application, but it's also remote monitoring. Everything's included when we think about monitoring our businesses. And an important point here, and it's great that we have such a mix of vendors here. We've got AVG, and this is going to touch upon some of what they do, but dealing with security outages. So Amazon, just in the past year, just a few highlights here for some security issues over the past year. Amazon's outage and Yahoo's hack and the DNS denial of service. This actually hit a New Hampshire company. Andrew and I are from New Hampshire, up near where Dine is located. And that took out half the eastern seaboard just with taking down DNS. So what does monitoring do for security? Well, first of all, monitoring ensures visibility. If you don't have visibility over your infrastructure, if you don't know what's going on with each core component, then you don't know where the problems are going to be, where the potential risks are. And furthermore, an intelligent monitoring solution should be looking for unusual behaviors, looking for anomalies. Within Prtg, we call this unusual detection. And that's all driven by, do you understand the baseline of your network? And part of that also goes into historical data. Do you understand how your system, how that application, how that service was performing 6 months ago, or a year ago, or 2 years ago? And can you see a trend that's going to cause you an issue in the future? And that all plays into security, because if your circuits are oversubscribed, if your servers are running out of compute and storage and memory, all these things play into your overall security footprint and having visibility within your network. So when we think about IT security, we think about the classic villains first, the Trojans, the viruses, the malware, the crypto lockers, the WannaCry. But you also have malfunctions and outages, hard drives failing, fans and power supplies, malfunctions within the devices that support the security within your network, your firewalls, your switches, all those, your maybe a gateway device, a intrusion detection system. Malfunctions in those devices are going to create security issues for your environment. New backdoors, obviously, between all the malware out there now and the other security risks, there's new ways that hackers have been developing, obviously, to get into environments with social engineering and things like that. But there's always a new risk. Having visibility in your environment is the most important thing. In physical threats being the failure of security on your doors to your data center or to your offices. Physical threats in the form of overheating or with fans and air conditioners, things that are supposed to keep your environment safe. And of course, software updates. I mean, unfortunately, this is impacting even Linux and Mac. The Windows has been the whipping boy for so long, and it still is, obviously. But missing software updates is still one of the biggest problems facing IT. So with Prtg, we give you visibility into all of that. We are the tool that highlights all of these different components. Prtg is the tool that not only is looking at your bandwidth, who's using your bandwidth, how much traffic, what's your space on your servers, your compute, and memory, all of those typical things, but we're much more than that because we're looking at SSL security on your websites, looking at DHCP. Is your DHCP server being compromised? Is there a man-in-the-middle attack, for example, something that has occurred in the past? Unwanted access, so looking at bandwidth. Are there people on your network that shouldn't be there? Are there rogue devices? Going back to that denial of service attack where Dyn was taken down, there was 50,000 devices, IoT devices that were unsecured, that were compromised by hackers because the passwords are published on the web, and if you don't change the default password, all these IoT devices were used in that denial of service attack against Dyn. Do you understand when a device like that could be on your network? And that's part of what Prtg does for you, both in terms of identifying unusual activity as well as rogue devices on the network. Denial of service event in the form of a message, capturing events from your firewalls and switches. Again, physical threats, environmental issues, fire, voltage. And ultimately, with Prtg, you get visibility to everything in your environment and outside of your network. So IP cameras, traffic feeds, weather radar, things that do impact your business, right? So if there's storms rolling through, if you've got IP cameras that you're looking at to get visibility of your physical environment, as well as the network performance, server performance, application performance, all within a single dashboard. Baselining, kind of IT 101, where unless you know the baseline of your network, you don't necessarily know there's a problem. Prtg is that first level of baselining your network, and again, this goes back to unusual detection. What we do with Prtg is we baseline everything in your network, and within a week, we can tell you when something's unusually low or high. It doesn't matter what the application or service or device is, we're going to be able to identify when that device is in an unusual state and notify you accordingly. Capacity, especially when you're talking about virtual environments. Are you running out of space? Are you running out of memory? And are you running out of compute? Do you need to add another virtual server? Do you need to potentially just move to the cloud? I mean, those are the kind of decisions, if you have monitoring in place, you can make business decisions to either add additional storage, add additional compute, or just make a business decision to move things to another provider. When's the next upgrade? Same idea here, that we're trying to prevent issues. So a memory leak. Let's say you've got a server that every 2-3 months you've got to reboot it. And we hear this from customers all the time. Just monitoring things like disk space and memory, they're able to prevent the Monday morning server outage. Everybody comes into the office, logs in, and all of a sudden nobody can get on. If you have trending, and if you're analyzing what that server is doing over time, you can make decisions to automate the process of fixing that issue before it happens. For your business, you as the IT admin, or does your IT staff have an SLA for their business? Voice over IP planning for QoS. If you've got multiple circuits, so we've been talking about today, John was talking about different circuits and having a failover and quality of service. All that comes into play with Prtg, giving you visibility into voice-related traffic. Uh-oh. So the big question, what does not monitoring my environment cost me? What are the risks? What does IT downtime cost you? Or what does IT poor performance cost you in terms of reputation, in terms of customer satisfaction, in terms of employee productivity? I mean, it's a really easy calculation if you just look at how many employees I have, average salary, times downtime, right? You run that calculation, and you can figure out what an hour of downtime costs. I mean, some estimates for medium to larger size businesses are as high as $8,000 a minute. I know that's probably unrealistic for most SMBs, but all that to say, even if it's $100 a minute or $100 an hour, well, maybe not an hour, but whatever the case may be for your business, when you run that calculation, it's easy to see how much monitoring can save you.
It's also the tangibles as well. Think about, for example, schools that use it as they have 100% up during the standardized testing. So you're down, not just money, but it's a big problem for faculty, staff, students, of course. The requirements for this that you're upheld to by the state
And Andrew brought up a good example for education. So a standardized test. Let's say that testing facility goes down, or the back-end server or database that supports that testing application fails. What's the impact to those teachers, to those students? And obviously the list goes on and on. What's the impact to your customers when they can't log into your site? Or maybe they can log in, but they can't fulfill an order. They can't transact with you. They can't get through to you to make a call, to send an email. All of those things, they start to add up very quickly in terms of the cost of downtime. Again, and that may lead you to say, you know what, I don't want to manage that. I don't want to worry about it. And that's where Rich Web comes in, of course, both in terms of the infrastructure and the monitoring, because they already have the expertise in Prtg to help with that. Average number of man hours lost. These are just some metrics from a report from CA. It's the average number of man hours lost in a given year per company per year. 600 hours for small businesses, 400 hours for medium, and over 600 for larger businesses. Again, you run that calculation. What's the average salary or hourly wage for those employees, and then you get a rough idea, or a very, very basic idea of, at a minimum, what it's going to cost you. All right, how Prtg could change your life. So we're going to save you in network management time, because you're going to understand what is not configured properly, what needs to be changed, what needs to be optimized, what needs to be modified. Reduce network management costs, because if you have visibility, if you have predictability for when circuits are oversubscribed, when your infrastructure is being overutilized, you can make changes before there's problems. We're incredibly easy to install and run. We're a Windows-based solution, but we also have a cloud-based solution. We just released this past year. We've been spending the past 2 years, a lot of development hours, releasing a cloud-based version. So if you want to go 100% cloud, we have that offering as well. Ease of use. I think a quick conversation with Rich Webb would convince you of that, but we can also show you a demo at the booth of how easy it is to use. It can literally be up and running in 2 minutes. It's quicker to install than iTunes. There's no database. There's no real server requirement. You can run it on a workstation. So it's very minimal to get up and running. Oh, okay. So Prtg is a single install. It's a Windows-based install. It can run in the cloud. It can run in your on-premise infrastructure, and it can monitor everything. So if you do have a hybrid cloud today, or you're planning to go hybrid cloud in the future, Prtg can monitor all of your local devices as well as any cloud infrastructure, whether it's with Rich Webb or Azure or Amazon. You can run Prtg in a high availability fashion as well. With every license of Prtg, you can run a clustered installation. So you have 2 Prtg servers. Many of our customers will actually run one in the cloud and one on-premise, so they have that redundancy and failover capability. And it's a great tool to use. Everything from Apple Watch and Android Wear. You can get notifications and alerts, push notifications and mobile apps for iOS and Android. Great enterprise Windows-based console, as well as an Ajax web interface. So what we tell our administrators, they're going to know if they have a bad day or not, based upon when they wake up in the morning, they look at their phone, they look at Prtg. But the nice thing, at least, they can look at their phone and they can actually respond to their environment from the mobile app, just when they wake up in the morning. So notifications include obviously the things that you would expect: email, text, push notifications to the mobile app. But as I mentioned before, the ability to automate responses. If there's scripts, if there's command files, if there's programs that you would run in response to a given event, let's say that server is running out of memory or storage, and you know it's caused by a particular application, you can actually script that response and resolve that issue in real time. Let's say you've got a circuit that's being overutilized, or it's failed over and you didn't realize, and you need to fail it back. Having the ability to use either API calls or scripts in order to resolve those issues in your environment are natively supported within Prtg, along with the ability to sound alarms. We even have customers that turn on light bulbs and change the color of the light bulbs with API calls. The Philips Hue light bulbs have an open API, and they'll actually make the light bulb go red when there's a problem in Prtg, just to kind of give you a fun example there of the extent to which the customization can go. So we do have an API. It can pull live data, customized data, create your own custom sensors. It's extremely customizable from SNMP sensors. For those of you that have played with SNMP before, it's readily available to create all of your own custom sensors if you want. And Rich Webb is experts in that. They are a great go-to resource in that regard. Data visualization, getting that overview of your network is one of the best pieces of Prtg. That's our Sunburst view. It's fairly unique in the industry, sometimes copied, but never replicated. The dashboards and maps. The nice thing with dashboards is you can treat it as a customer-facing element, or it could be just for the admin. For example, we use dashboards at the Pestler headquarters to show all of our customer service, tech support, and sales metrics. So we're capturing all of our Google Analytics data. We're looking at website traffic, sales numbers, open tickets, customer service, tech support, pre-sales. So we we get a dashboard of all these different metrics that we pull into Prtg from Google or from our ticketing system, so we get insight into the environment. This is an example of just a business process sensor. Email, web, the web shop, the ERP system, the CRM, are all these services up and running? And would it be nice to have a dashboard to give to end users or maybe to customers or to management to say, hey, everything's up, look at the dashboard. This is a more complex example of a dashboard where we're looking at a web shop. So we're looking at the order process, what's going on with the web server, what's going on with the network connectivity to that server, how's the back-end database to that server. So you're getting a very holistic view of a critical application for a customer from this dashboard. And of course, we have comprehensive customized reporting. Prtg has 230 sensors built in for everything from your HPs, your Dells, your Ciscos, your VMware, anything Windows, Linux, Mac, to numerous storage vendors, and the ability to incorporate scripts, as I mentioned before. We have a whole script library we call it Script World. There's over 300 scripts in there. Many of them are PowerShell or Python scripts, C#, .NET. But these are all readily available that you can integrate into Prtg today without having to write the code. We already provide the code to you, so you can integrate it. Prtg is a strategic fit. So whatever you have today for your hardware, for your software, for your applications, for your operating systems, for your cloud infrastructure, we can fit into that and monitor all of it from a single pane of glass. If you don't take our word for it, we send out this survey every year, and it has consistently come back that 96% of our customers would recommend us to colleagues. And that's why part of why we've seen annual growth of 25, 30+% year over year. We're an industry leader recognized by Gartner in a Magic Quadrant for network performance monitoring and diagnostics. So it's been a industry proven and tried and tested solution. Any questions I can help answer? And again, Andrew and I will be at the booth. I'll get the demo up and running. If there's specific questions like, hey, how do I monitor this? How can I figure out what locked AD user? Yes, sir.
Thank you for your presentation. I enjoyed that. I'm intrigued by, frankly, the 4% who don't like it. So why? Is there a trend?
Well, I think 96% is pretty good.
I'm not saying it's
Yeah.
not. I just want to know about the 4%.
I would say the 4% want a larger solution, and we're not trying to be a catch-all in terms of there's the SolarWinds, and there's some bigger solutions out there, CA and IBM, and where it's $1 million solution that does everything.
In addition to that, 4% represents people who are neutral. They didn't know comment. It's not necessarily a flat out no. Greg's point is that sometimes, while we do monitoring, just real-time monitoring, they're looking for a solution that does that, but maybe they do configuration management or change management. They want to be able to remote into the switch that they able to figure out why restart, reconfigure, et cetera. We don't go that far, or we only not rewrite.
So there's some level of size
Yep.
that you're comfortable in your space with your company. Above that size, that's where maybe the 4% lie, the mega companies, the large companies that are more global.
Well, yes and no. We have many very large customers, customer Fortune 100 customers that do this very effectively. But we compete with, say, the likes of SolarWinds that offer a more robust feature set outside of the scope of network monitoring. We'd have to recommend a complementary solution as well.
I would say from my perspective, the 4% that don't know or don't know would be the 4% where they don't log into it. It's the kind of thing where if you use it every day and you integrate it into your workflow and you make a dashboard available to other employees, if it's ever down or there's something on there they don't like or don't understand, they're going to come up about it. But if you're not actively using it, like I'll give you a good example. We set up Prtg for some of our customers, and the only time it gets used for these guys, not the ideal scenario, the only time it gets used for these customers is when they haven't.
They don't understand what you're providing, and they get frustrated with it. Okay, fair enough, thank you.
So you're doing real-time monitoring a lot of different things. Are you at the point where you would be able to put in predictive analytics, or so you know the mean time to failure of a product? Say I'm using Cisco Switch X, and the fan life on this thing is this many hours. Are you at the point where you're, because I'm seeing like, it makes sense for that to maybe be an evolution or on the horizon for you guys. So maybe I'm trying to stretch. My refresh rate is 5 years. My budget maybe needs to be 6 or 7. Can I look at the real-time health of that device and mean time to failure, repair, maybe tie that in with you guys?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for example, with Cisco out of the box, right? You click Cisco System Health in Prtg. It gives you CPU, memory, fans, power supplies, voltage levels, fiber light levels, right? Everything about that device from a health perspective. Before we even start talking about traffic or bandwidth monitoring, NetFlow, or anything like that. But to your question, as long as that value, which I'm 99% sure is captured within SNMP, you can just capture that value and keep track of that over the life of the switch or the fiber, whatever you're monitoring. And then from that standpoint, you can then set a threshold on that particular metric that says, hey, at 5 years, maybe it's just counting days, right? So it's like once this value hits 1,500 days or whatever the metric is, notify me that, all right, this is reached end of life. A really more basic example that I know customers do is they look at page counts on a printer. So they monitor their printers for toner and page jams and empty paper trays and things like that, but they also monitor page count. So as soon as it hits 500,000, they're like, forget it, replace it. They don't want to mess with printers. But same idea, I think.
We'd like to monitor the CPU temperature and fan speed on routers. It's important. That gives you a pretty good ability to predict when that box is going to fail. If it's running past a certain threshold because the customer didn't have any ventilation, they put more stuff in the closet. Suppose everything's normal and you're monitoring it and everything's green. The customer comes in and they stack 15 boxes of folders in there, obstruct the airflow. All of a sudden, within 2 hours, the room heats up by 6 degrees. You're going to know that Prtg, if you have your threshold set correctly, all of a sudden you're getting an alert saying, wait a second, this router's going to overheat, and that's going to start causing back problems, potentially device failure. So we know proactively we can say, what's going on in your closet? Oh yeah, we're now using it as a lock closet, file storage closet. You got to take that stuff out of it.
Yeah, the ability to tie in environmental monitoring too, beyond just a switch where you're monitoring ambient temperature, humidity, noise, pressure, as well as IP cameras, UPSs, switch rack PDUs. So really anything going into the data center or anything going into your switch closet, we can tie into that. So maybe before the switch overheats, you hear maybe your HVAC unit has monitoring capabilities too, so we can tie into that. What's that?
Kentex?
Yeah, Kentex, ABC, NetBots. There's a ton of different options out there. Access Communications. They do a lot of IP cameras and environmental monitoring as well. But do you guys do much in that way?
We're starting to do more and more of that. I have several customers that have used, they're supposed to have a secure room for their data closet. And even if it's just got a router and switch in the phone system, if you obstruct the airflow in there, you can see right away. I've got one customer now, and he's got over 10 warnings on his router, and he's telling him, God, that move is all business. If the lifetime of this gear is not going to be 5 years, it might be 2 years or less.
Smoking it. Any other questions?
You guys might want to mention about the 100 sensor evaluation version.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a great point.
Thank
That's
you.
how we got started. We've been a paying customer now for about 12 years, but that's how we got started with Prtg.
I always ask, are there any Prtg users? Anybody else using Prtg as far as you know? Okay, great. Yeah. Worst case scenario, you get 100 sensors free forever. So you install the product wherever you run it. I'd recommend if you guys like to play with new toys, run it at home, install another version at the office. It's an unlimited free trial, so you get to play with everything. And then you can we continue using all of the features and functionalities, completely feature complete product at every license level, even 100 sensor freeware. We never limit you on features, or there's no add-ons, there's no modules, we're all in. So you get 100 sensors for free. Basically what that works out to is figure 10 devices, 5 to 10 at least, depending upon how conservative you are with the number of sensors. But yeah, it's a great point. Thank you.
And Greg, there's a really easy way to go to that free trial on RichWeb's website. So you can go to richweb.com and go to our Prtg page, and it's right there at the top of the page. Click on the free trial and sign up.
What are you guys using PRTG for?
Just everything that you've been talking about.
Yeah.
We have 4 locations, monitoring, routers, switches, servers. We have several VMs at RichWeb, and we monitor those remotely with remote probes.
Beautiful.
He's got a lot of ping monitors, and Carter has a challenge. Hopefully I can speak for you a little bit. He's got a challenge where he's not all the Richmond area. He's got a wide area network tunnels that go to different geographical areas. So one of his challenges is ISP performance. When we have different countries, different levels, different carriers, he's got to monitor his connections and say, okay, this threshold is my good interval. When I start getting above this threshold, I'm going to start having to take action. Letting users know, hey, your ERP performance is not good right now because your Canadian connection or your U.S. West connection is not
Sure.
established.
Are you guys monitoring like each hop in the ISP, like doing a trace route, and you can monitor each hop at least on a basic level, ping jitter, things like that?
I do that on each of the WAN connections
Okay.
to the different offices.
Sure. Yeah. Awesome.
So, great problem.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? I noticed you raised your hand about PRTG. Exchange, yeah.
Utilization and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing with PRTG. This is built-in stuff we're talking about right here. It's not, you don't have to do any code, you don't have to do any customization. There's a ton of customization options. The guys who really like to geek out more than I do and write scripts and create all kinds of custom sensors. But like there's Exchange sensors, there's SQL sensors, there's SharePoint sensors, there's website sensors, there's anything you have, pretty much you're going to be able to do out of the box. Anybody else?
I have a dirty thing for you. Who here has ever experienced or gets frustrated by your Wi-Fi being slow or unexpectedly slow? Slow when you just need it to be fast. A lot of you guys, if you're living in a residential area, if you're not on that farm, it's got 40 acres, right? If you're living in a residential area and you browse on your laptop, how many different neighbors have Wi-Fi in their houses? 40? 30? It's a lot. Most of those guys, if they're on the 2.4 channel, they're all probably stepping on your same frequency, which means it's basically like you're in a giant cafeteria with 500 people, and they're all shouting, and you're trying to have a conversation with your friend. It's really hard to hear because there's all that background noise. One of the things that we're working on is trying to figure out how we, in our wireless console, we can schedule after hours a frequency scan so we can figure out who in your neighborhood is stepping on your frequency, and they have a custom PRTG plugin that reports that back so that we can collect that data. Because what happens to us now is we may, on day 1, we're all good. On day 10, start to have some issues. We're trying to catch that customer and make the adjustments before it's day 50, and now he or she's calling us saying, I've got 300 people in front of the net, my wireless is down, or half my building wireless is down. And it's because there's a conflict with the channel on the other side of the building. So we managed to get you some larger events, so we got to make sure that wireless is their lifeblood, that's been working all the time. So we have a pretty good tool, unified system that we use, and we want to integrate that into the management console of PRTG, which is basically a proactive notice saying, hey, we've got some issues, let's take some action to fix this before it becomes a all hands on deck.
Nice. Looking forward to that. Yes.
You may have answered this, but I'm a third grader, so I have virtual assistants, and they're all over doing various things for various clients. How would I monitor not only their activity, but the health of their device?
Great question. Do you own the device?
Yes, I own the devices.
Okay. And that's a perfect use case for what's called a remote probe. although PRTG is agentless, we can monitor distributed networks across the world. So we have customers that are monitoring global data centers all over the place. But for your particular scenario, you've got it's a Windows device, so that's okay. So let's say it's a Windows tablet or a laptop. We could have a remote probe running that's reporting back to a central console, so you get visibility to all of their devices. So you're not only looking at their connectivity, I mean, although they're using their own internet, of course, but you're at least looking at their device, so all the performance metrics, so their CPU, their wireless connectivity. So some of those things that you could incorporate there, looking at their local Wi-Fi network, and all of the, maybe a handful of things about Windows. Is Windows running okay? Is Windows up to date? And that, going back to the security topic, monitoring whether their local firewall is on, is antivirus up to date, is it running, is Windows Update up to date? Those are the kind of things that is all built into PRTG. Yeah. Great question. Anybody else? All right. Well, hope everybody's hungry.
Thanks, Greg.